find seats for everyone. I apologize if we're a little bit overcrowded. We try to manage that each year, and we seem to get a few more people than we expect, but that's nice. It tells us what an important evening it is for everyone. I'd hoped that after 25 graduations I would start to be a little more relaxed, but I think I'm as nervous tonight as I was at the first one in 1968. So I'll do an easy job first, and maybe that will help. I'd like to introduce you to our staff and guests on the stage, and would you please refrain from applauding or whatever you'd like to do until I'm finished. On my far left, Mrs. Pinnock, Mr. Bussell, Mrs. Allenby, Mrs. Fleming, Mrs. Green, Mrs. Harding, Mrs. Mott, Mrs. Holden, and Mrs. Walton. Back to the left again, Mrs. Jasmine, Mrs. Finch, Mrs. Dayfo, Mr. Rowson, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Jameson, Mr. Boziak, and, of course, my right-hand man, Mr. Spencer. Would you welcome our guests and staff? Also down on the video camera, Mr. O'Connor. Would you also welcome him, please? I think it would be appropriate at this time to also mention that we have a few staff changes for next year, and I'm sure many of the parents here would like to say a few words to these people after back at the school, because I know you've appreciated their contributions at our school. First of all, Mrs. Jasmine is moving over to Prince of Wales School in Belleville, where she'll be doing primary junior music. We wish her luck there. Mr. Jameson and Mr. Bussell are returning to Foxborough Senior Elementary School. And no matter what they tell you, students from Sterling cannot transfer to Foxborough without my permission. Also, leaving us this year, and she's been with us for 2 years and has done a great job of doing our noon hour supervision, Mrs. Joyce Harding, and also retiring this year, a lucky lady, Mrs. Holden. Would you 5 people stand for a moment, please? Started a tradition, what has become a tradition 5 or 6 years ago. When we plan graduation, we try to make it an evening for our students, because it is a big time in their lives. And so 5 or 6 years ago, we started by inviting, as one of our guest speakers, a former valedictorian. And we've been keeping that tradition alive now for 5 or 6 years. And I'm assuming our guest this evening is here. Mr. Spencer, have you made contact with her? Andrea Baker, are you out there, I hope? Well, maybe the tradition is coming to an end this evening. I know Andrea's family is very busy with strawberries right now. And I did talk to her in the weekend, and she said she would be here. So I'm sure, knowing Andrea, that it's a very good reason why she isn't here, and I apologize on her behalf. I know you would have enjoyed her. She was one of the most moving valedictorians we've ever had at graduation. Anyway, we'll move right on with the program, and if Andrea does make it, I hope she brings some berries with her. If she does, we'll work her in. Hi, did you get a late slip, Andrea? Nice to see you. Glad you can make it. Just sit down there and relax for a moment and get your thoughts together. Mr. Spencer said he would keep his introduction under 15 or 20 minutes, so that will give you a chance to think about what you want to say. Mr. Spencer.
The privilege of teaching Andrea in the first homeroom setting when I arrived at Sterling Senior. And she was not only a strong academic student, but a very well thought of individual by staff and her peers. She did a great deal for the school, spirit-wise, academically-wise. And to this day, Andrea, I still have in my office, and I use it each year that I teach English, Hurrah, My Little Hippo. It's a book she wrote for the primary students, just a gorgeous novel that she wrote, and I use that, as I said, for examples to other students. As Mr. Palmetier says, Andrea is extremely busy, and I'm very pleased that she was able to take time out and be with us this evening, and I look forward to her talk. Andrea Baker.
Just let me gather my thoughts together. Oh dear, I thought I was supposed to go to the Sterling Senior. So I was running frantically down the city here, the town. I don't know where this is. So everybody's like, I'm supposed to speak. I'm like, you're late. Yes, I'm late. Okay. Before I begin, I would just like to say congratulations. And what an honor and a privilege it is to be up here talking to the graduating class of 1992. This school not only holds memories for this graduating class, but also for years past and years to come. The fondest memories Sterling Senior School, although I may not have been fond of them at that time, were the science fair, public speaking, festivals, school sports, and of course athletic day. Now I'm sure there were probably many recollections of yourself participating in these events as I was speaking, and I can assure you that when you enter high school, there are many school sports, special activities, and clubs that you can enter and get involved with. As far as pleasant memories of my past high school years, I really enjoyed the special activities like pep rallies before a competition and Moga Madness. These are activities where you can have fun and show your school spirit. Unfortunately, my fondest memories started in my 11th year. I really enjoyed and appreciated music. Therefore, I enrolled myself in a music class. This led to wonderful endeavors. I toured around with a chorus groupie and also ended up in Nova Scotia singing our tunes along with an excellent band. These memories of high school only relate really to myself, but each individual in this audience will have his or her own memories of Sterling Senior School or even high school when they're finished. Some advice going into high school from a person who is going into her OAC or grade 13 year would be to be yourself and not let anyone or even your peers sway from being anything that you wish to be. I see many grade 9s going into high school falling into a stagnant pattern. When I walk outside our high school doors to the parking lot, the foul aroma of cigarettes almost make me want to choke. Many of these kids are in their grade 9 year and are striving to be socially accepted. My advice to you, although you've probably heard it many times before, is not to fall in or give in to peer pressure. If you do, you're degrading yourself, and not socially, but maybe even mentally, physically, and spiritually. Smoking is just one area that's occurs. Alcohol and drug abuse is also very evident in high school. It is each individual's choice to be all they can be. And how can this occur? If you're wasting yourself on things that have no value and have the potential to rob you, physically, mentally, and morally, of the phenomenal potential that lies in each and every one of you. High school is a great time for exploration, but there is no need to take foolish and dangerous risks. The wise explorer can check out music, sports, clubs, drama. There's phenomenal things, like just a whole bunch of things that you can get involved with in high school. But the foolish explorer that I see hangs around the outside doors of our high school when they're supposed to be in class. Another piece of advice would be to have a goal in life. Whether it's something you wish to achieve physically or intellectually, don't settle for second best. Be all you can be and nothing less. Have a happy exploration. High school is a time to have fun. It can be the best years of your life, or they can be a heartache. It's your choice. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Some excellent advice and words of encouragement there, Andrea. Thank you. And I'm sure with peers such as yourself at the secondary level to provide assistance to our students as they come through, I'm sure they will be successful as well. Andrea, on behalf of the students, I'd like to present you with this token of our appreciation. I'd like to call on Mrs. Holden to make a presentation.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Stephanie Walberton and Breton Fleming and Nadine Richter and Dennis Mayhew, also Jennifer Wallace and Sarah Stone, to help me with this, please. And Mr. Eugene Burrows, also, would you come down, please? For the grade 8s to leave something in the school to kind of brighten up the hallways and let everybody remember them. And we started some of these little wall banners. And so these two banners that you see in front of you were prepared primarily by the grade 8s who attended the family studies in the first half of the year. And so these are being presented to Sterling Senior School to make the halls a little more cheerful. Thank you. Sterling Senior is not a cheerful place to be. Last February, I was approached by Mrs. Winkler to ask me if it would be possible to contact the Belleville Weavers and Spinners Guild and perhaps have a tapestry woven to go in the piano room of the theater to help with some soundproofing. Having seen the wall hangings that the students did, I immediately said, oh, I have a much better idea. How about if I have the students do a quilt? And so this quilt that you see here has been created students from grades 6, 7, and 8 of our Sterling Senior School, and it will hang very proudly in the piano room of the Sterling Theater. And so we would like to, at this time, present it to Mr. Eugene Burroughs.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Holden, and grades 6, 7, and 8, not only for this beautiful hanging, but for the thoughts and the effort and the feeling that you must have, perhaps to the village and to the theater, to assist us in providing this sound baffle in the piano room. Thank you very much. I want to hang it out, and I'm going to put it out in the lobby so that most of you people will have a chance to see it as you leave tonight. Thank you very much.
This brings us to the portion of our program where we will present diplomas to our graduating students. They will enter the stage through the trellis and receive their diploma at that time. Parents wishing to have photographs taken are more than encouraged to come forward, and we will trip anybody who tries to race off before their picture is taken. I would ask you to withhold your applause until each class has completed their certificate presentations. Could I call on class 8-1, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure and privilege of presenting to you the graduating class, Sterling Senior School Class 8-1, beginning with Melissa Alvin. Suzanne Anderson. Jamie Lynn Bennett. Michelle Brooks. Rebecca Cook. Dennis Cummins. Jason Deckers. Brianne Duke. Bretton Fleming. Kelsey. Christian Kiersey. Jennifer Kite. Neil LeBert. Cindy Massa. Brandolyn McConnell. Sarah Usti. Jennifer Phil. Aaron Pierce. Christine Pollard. Brent Raymond. Casey Scrimshaw. Jennifer Shaw. Jeremy Sizer. Paula Tasker. Tim Trustman.
this always challenging and exciting class of 82. Daryl Bailey. Summer Bertram. Krista Broadbeck. He's threatening me, so we'll say Bill Brooks. Katie Bussell. Arrington. Mike Garrett. Sabina Hart. Charlotte Houston. Amy Lazard. Fred Lindsay. Dennis Mayhew. Lisa McGeach. Rob McMillan. say something, but I don't. Leslie Miller. Paul Morgan. Chris Spancho. Matt Parr. Yolanda Patterson. Sean Battamore. Lisa Ray. Kyle Reed. Nadine Richter.
Nadine?
Jessica Ryan. Jennifer Vance. Susan Walton. And that's our class of 82.
Class 8-3, please.
Scondelli. Aaron Hayes. Robert Hicks. Brad Keel. Joe Kate. Lawrence Kovacic. Shane Lake. Corin Merriam. Michael Magucci. Jennifer Morrow. Laura Pickett. John Tamogan. Nancy Richardson. Julie Sager. Jennifer Scott. Amy Spencer. Sarah St. Hilaire. Sarah Stone. Jeremy Tolson. Gordon Thorne. Travis Walker. Jennifer Wallace. Kathy Walton. Amy Welsh. Kyla West. Lisa White. Ladies and gentlemen, Class 83.
boss is there, Mr. Bussell? Mr. Jameson, if we get some of those people to run that fast in track and field, we would have done even better this year. I realize, my goodness, some of you people are fast. At this time, our second guest speaker really isn't a guest. I promised her that I wouldn't make a big speech about her this evening, so I won't. But I would like to say this. Mrs. Holden has been with me for 10 years in Sterling. That's been a very good experience for me working with her. And I guess the biggest compliment I could pay to Mrs. Holden is that in her last year of teaching, I think she's probably had her best year of teaching. And I would hope that all of us, whatever our profession, will be able to say the same thing. Would you welcome our guest speaker, Mrs. Holden?
Good. I just have a few words I wanted to say to you tonight. So Mr. Spencer helped me with the computer because I'm not very good at it. After listening to Andrea Baker, I really felt that you didn't need a second guest speaker. I think she spoke very eloquently and talked to you, probably said a lot of things that are more pertinent. However, since I am also graduating with you this year, I'm really thrilled to be able for you to share this night with me. I got to start off, I think, by saying how wonderful you really look. Are you sure you're the same kids we took to Ottawa? I don't know. There's been lots happened since we got back. I think parents, you really need to stand up and take a bow. You must feel terrifically proud. You probably don't remember 3 years ago when you first came into the family studies room, but I do. Your first questions then and this year still are, what are we making today and who gets to cook? And what I can't figure out is that if you did all that cooking and all that eating, how come I'm the one that put the weight on? I'll never forget your look of delight the first time you attacked, and I do mean attacked, those sewing machines. I'm so thankful they weren't on wheels. They would have been down at Becker's in about 30 seconds flat, right out the door. And when you crowded around the ovens and peered in to see that bread that was rising, you thought it was just awesome. But I think one of my all-time favorite memories I'm going to take with me happened just a week ago when Rob McMullen was very busy cleaning out one of the lower cupboards and, much to his dismay, discovered that I had a dishwasher in the family studies room. Wasn't I clever? For 3 years, I had some of you fooled into thinking that there was only one way to do dishes. And what else do you think the Sterling staff here on my left have been clever at for the last 3 years? Well, I think they've been very clever at challenging you to be the very best that you can be in academics, music, drama, shop, public speaking, athletics, storytelling, writing, math contests, science fairs, and on and on and on. The list just doesn't quit. And you have met those challenges, each and every one of you. I know you felt very proud receiving your diplomas just now and getting the recognition that you so deserve. For some, I also know, working with you over the last 3 years, that it has indeed been a battle and a struggle, but you've made it. You're all winners and you're all survivors. And speaking of surviving, some of you have even survived Mr. Fisher's canoe trips. And that really impresses me because I must confess, I didn't. But I'll bet you probably don't know about that story. You'll have to ask him about that sometime. Melanie asked me last week, what are you going to do next year, Mrs. Holden? Why, what else? I'm going to watch the soaps. Just think, I can finally find out if the Young and Restless really are. graduating together, what are you going to do next year? Are you going to follow? Or, as Andrea pointed out, maybe are you going to set the pace and be your own person? Are you going to just accept, or are you going to make your own decisions? And can you tell me anyway, just who is it that decides it's really cool to run 100-yard dashes, but maybe not quite so cool to play classical music? I really liked what Mr. Palmetier said to the grade 6s and 7s yesterday when they received their honor roll certificates. He said, don't you ever let anyone tell you that it isn't smart to be smart. You're well aware that our world is very hurting and we need your enthusiasm, your commitment, and your concern to be the very best that you can be in whatever field you choose. When you go to high school next fall, I hope you will be the ones who will decide what's cool. You will set the pace, and you will let the others do the following. It's been many, many years since I've graduated with a grade 8 class. And so again, I thank you for sharing this night with me. And I think I understand your feelings tonight. We're all leaving a place where we've been challenged to grow and develop. A place which will always be very special to us. We've made wonderful friends, and we're a little sad about going and a little uncertain about next year, but we're all ready to try new things, and you're ready, and you're going to do it. Just as Nike says, just do it. Remember, the only things you can't do are the things you think you can't do. So here's one last recipe for you. When you're faced with frustration, and you will be, add 2 cups of frustration to a half a cup of understanding, a half a cup of compassion, a cup of kindness, and stir gently. Blend in 3 parts elephant, or a monkey if elephants are out of season, finely chopped, and 4 cups of water. Season to taste and simmer for about 5 hours until tender. Cool, eat slowly, and digest well before making any decisions. Take care as you go, be gentle with yourselves, and kind to all of those you meet along the way. And above all, keep smiling and hold on to your wonderful sense of humor. Best of luck.
Thank you very much, Marilyn. I'd like to ask you one question. Will you be my supply teacher next year?
Well, you can always phone, and if I happen to have a free day, I might be able to.
You've all heard that. I have witnesses. We have 500 witnesses. That will be great because Mrs. Holden will be able to supply French, family studies, phys ed, name it, and she can do it. Mr. O'Connor, you might even be able to take a day off next year. To shop. Marilyn, thank you. That was wonderful. Mrs. Pinnock, Mrs. Fleming, I'd ask you to come forward at this time, please.
There are many wonderful people people at Sterling Senior School. You've seen some of our graduates tonight. We've seen our staff. And we also would like tonight to recognize the contributions of our 2 noon hour supervisors. We certainly appreciate and greatly look forward to seeing these ladies each day, and their kindness and help with the students and the supervision is greatly appreciated. And Mrs. Fleming and I would like to ask Mrs. Harding and Mrs. Walton to come forward now, please. On behalf of the staff and students at Sterling Senior School, we'd like to present these flowers to you this evening. And if you count them, there's one for each day of the week, possibly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. One of our third goal this evening, I think I said earlier we were here to honor and to celebrate with these folks tonight. The third goal for me is to try to be finished by 9 o'clock, so we'll move right along so that we can get back to the dance. The next part of our program is one that I've always had mixed emotions about. It's great in that we honor many deserving students who sparkle in different areas. I guess the reason I have mixed emotions is because as I look around in my school and as we make these selections, there are many, many good students who just don't quite make it as far as qualifying for a trophy. I can think of a little girl in 81 who will be just the greatest person in high school for school spirit. And we don't have an award for that. I can think of many athletes here. Unfortunately, they're not all going to win an athletic award this evening, but they will do well in high school. And we have many scholars. There are many students in the room who have over 80% this year who are not on the honor roll. The criteria there is pretty stiff. So like Winston Churchill, who had, I don't think he won any trophies in school, but he certainly did well after. I think we have some Churchills in our school this year. They may not be up here in the next 20 minutes, but there are many of you folks who I think will continue to excel, and we'll be hearing about you in secondary school and after that. So that's why I have the mixed emotions, but it is nice to honor those people who have excelled this past year. I'm going to call on the teachers to come up without introduction, and that will save us a bit of time. We'll start with Mr. Jameson and followed by Mr. Boziak.
I'll stand on this side because if you do, they won't be able to see over the flowers.
Great.
Mr. P had that right, though. He said Mr. Jameson followed by Mr. Bosiak. Mr. P and I are up here to congratulate and to present the male-female athletes of the year. Mr. P, I don't like to brag, but there were just so many super male athletes this year that the decision was almost too hard to make.
Well, the girls aren't too shabby either. You got anybody in mind?
Well, yeah, you can narrow it down because this person was on the soccer team.
Well, so was this girl.
They the same person?
No.
Oh.
She's a little taller.
Oh. He's a little better looking.
I don't think so.
Well, he was on the volleyball team.
Yeah, but she was on the county championship team.
He's a super basketball player.
So is she. Second place team in the county this year.
He's still better looking.
You win.
He was on cross-country team.
So is she.
He was in track and field.
So is she.
a little shorter than she.
And they're both fine athletes.
Certainly are.
This year's top male female athlete are Michelle Brooks
And Travis Walker.
Mrs. Walton and I are very happy to present the Misty Awards, which are given each year to students who have really shown tremendous growth over, also from grade 6 and 7 through, and particularly in grade 8. Academic growth for students in the grade 8 area. And so I'm going to ask Mrs. Walton if she would start off, please. Our first recipient, where am I? Is Erin Haynes. What up, Bruce? I'll read the names because you're there, okay? You just stay there, okay, Erin, and we'll bring the others up. Daryl Bailey, please. Robert Dafoe. Our Misties stand for Most Improved Student this year. But it's also, we consider the 3 years that they've been in the senior school as well for their academic growth. Lisa Ray. Darcy Davis. Dennis Mayhew. Susan Walton. Leslie Miller. Cindy Mason. And last, certainly but not least, Paula Tassin. Congratulations to all our Misties.
Tonight we are awarding the Arts and Crafts Award to a very arts
artsy person. This person takes great care in every art assignment and produces masterpieces. Right from grade 6, she has shown her talent. Her artwork is the envy of all, whether she is working with pencils, crayons, paint, paper, or ink, whether it's design or picture making. In all areas, she is superior. She designed a Christmas card used by Special Education Department, won prizes in Legion and other poster contests, designed posters for mass production for the Sterling Arts Council Piano Fund. For our musical, Let's Put On a Show, and the Sterling Fun Fair. Her reading follow-ups often involved an artistic creation, which took great time and effort. As you can tell, she loves what she is talented in and uses it to enhance our world. The award winner is Charlotte Houston.
Trophy to the student who has shown academic improvement over the years in Sterling Senior School. This person came into our school in fear and trembling. Immediately, this person was integrated with others older and in higher grades. A few times this person showed great anxiety, but went on to work in the regular classroom, and we the teachers have admired his neatness, his industry, and his desire to do exactly what was required of him. I'm sure he'll continue to give his all in high school. I'm proud to give this award to a person who in my books is of great stature, and he looks great too, Robert Hicks.
Choice for Science Proficiency Award was not clear until the latter stages of the year. Up until that point, there were many contenders. Students who worked hard, students who planned well, prepared well, students sought out by other students whenever there were lab assignments and projects to do. Toward the latter part of the third term, I allowed bonus points where students could accumulate extra points and boost their average a bit. And that is when this student started to pull away from the crowd. And I think she ended up with an average of something like 104%. I should tell her, though, that she almost blew this award on the last day of the second term. It was a snow day, as I recall, just before the March break. And in the afternoon of that day, I suggested we go up and do a little snowshoeing behind the school. We had the snowshoes. There was 12 inches or so of new snow. It was the last day of school. The kids had probably never had the opportunity to do this when they'd been to the Frink Center in grade 4 and 5. I thought it was a good idea. This student told me she didn't want to do it. She wanted to go to the library and do some work. Last day of school, I couldn't believe it. Well, I watched her again on the last day of school today as she withstood the now annual Mr. Rousen dissects the fetal pig. And I don't think she missed a single cut. Last time I discussed with her what her intentions were, she was planning on a medical career. And I'm pleased now to boost her toward that goal by presenting her with this award. I'm sure that one day she will be called Dr. Jennifer Wallace.
It would be absolument impossible to present this award without using some French and English. Et alors, c'est avec beaucoup de plaisir que je présente le prix en français pour cette année. This year's recipient has been a pleasure to teach, participating actively in class, maintaining consistency throughout the year, and being ready to assist fellow classmates. My only regret is having taught this student for only 1 year. Please join me in congratulating this year's French Award winner. Je vous présente Jennifer Wallace.
Before we arrived tonight, just at the door, that it's my turn to say the speech. So I thought of one while I was sitting there. First of all, we would very much like to thank the Sterling community for letting us be part of your music community, because this is probably one of the most musical places in Ontario. I'm almost sure of that from my travels in Ontario. You have this beautiful theater. You have a music festival that is it's almost bigger than the Belleville Rotary Festival, which is huge in itself. And you have many arts and crafts and theater presentations. It's just wonderful, and we're really happy to be part of that. Just to prove that, we had a third of these graduates in my school band this year, and I hope you had an opportunity to hear them because they were awesome. And also, many of these graduates were in the school choirs. Over the years, we've had choirs, and this year we had one at the Sterling Festival, and we did very well. Now, the music award winner tonight is very talented, but she's certainly not alone. We have lots of talented people here in Sterling. This one, she plays 3 instruments that I know of, and very well. She sings like a lark, and she has probably the highest marks that we've ever had in the music program, and her name is Jennifer Phil.
Predictable, I've been lucky enough to award the History Prize this year. As my students know, history is something I like. I enjoy it. Not a lot of people do. And in choosing someone for history this year, I took a look at not just academics, because they're always an important measurement tool, this kind of thing. But I took more active interest, I suppose, in students' interests, in their sincerity, in their drive, in their industry, and those kinds of qualities that carry people longer than just through a history class. Personally, person I'm going to name to you tonight is someone who has done very well academically, someone who has been on task all year, has managed to demonstrate an awful lot of interest. I don't know the last time when I had a student who spent their own time talking with me about pieces of work that were underway that they were working on. And that has happened this year. The student I'd like to name to you tonight is Sabina Harth.
To be up here tonight, and it'll be my last night. It's starting for a year or two, but I'd like to thank the parents and their support, the students and their support, and certainly the staff and their support. I've had a great 2 years here. I'd like to give you a little sample of what went on in our geography classes, and very quickly I want to go through the year with parents because they don't really understand what was going on. I'm sure my students remember back in September, the first week of September, I had them draw for me, without an atlas, the 7 continents of the world. And as I walked around the room, I thought to myself, are these kids on this road? Do they live in this continent? Are they from this planet? At least, the very least, they were certainly up the creek. As we went through into October, though, they started to rise the mountain. And as they rose, we got into November, we got into tests. Things got a little sticky, a little humid. Eventually we got into January, we reached the dew point, saturation point. They had all they could take. I showered them with a little more knowledge, and it started to pour out. They finally reached the top of the mountain and started to descend into the geography plane. We're now into geography. It took us 6 months. We finally made it. Things got just as difficult as things went on. They probably reached their summit at the major map-making contest with Trent University. And I want to talk about that for just a second because very quickly recall what I said in September about how poorly these people were. Were they really on this planet? As it turns out, they were. And just very quickly, I'd like to let you know that this is a province-wide map competition from Trent University, and we had 5 students in the top 6, 3 with honorable mention. And I need to say that in second place, we had Krista Broadbent. And in first place at the university contest, we had Lisa McGeechee. So I was really proud when I saw what they started with and where they ended up. A lot of thought went into that. A lot of thought went into my decision making too, because as the year went on, we started to go downhill a little bit. We started getting group work, like they asked us to do at Bayside. Started to share your ideas, see who could work together and who couldn't. And then finally, in fact, this very day I thought was most appropriate. I knew that geography was the most important subject in this school. I was so impressed, and you will be too. I want you to go to the gym tonight, and when you go in the door there, take a look at the banner as you go inside the door. It says, Free Atlas. I said, isn't that amazing? Take a look, because that's what it says. I think, doesn't it, Katie? It doesn't say, what does it say, Kate? Last. Oh, free at last. Oh. Well, there goes your award. This particular person who's won this award, though, has been working all year long, and I think that you'll probably remember this little saying, because when I say it, I'm sure you'll know who it is. I would like to present this award to the person who says, "Come on down, Brenton Fleming."
for 15 years and haven't succeeded yet. Parents, guests, students, colleagues, you'll want to know who is the top math student in the graduating class. First, I'd like all the advanced math students to stand up. Thank you. Well, that didn't help me very much. They all look pretty sharp. As far as marks are concerned, there are 3 at the top who should get this award. So I thought I'd cut the trophy in thirds. However, my students will remember that we had a lot of trouble exactly doubling the area of a hexagonal parachute. So we won't bother cutting this in thirds. Another deciding factor might be, and I apologize for the in-joke, who can tie the tidiest full or half Windsor tightly around their neck outside Thailand? That's a little in-joke. They'll understand. I see some of the girls without a tie tonight, so that kind of narrows it down to who can build and fly a kite, and by using trigonometric ratios, and they can do this, amazing. Calculate how high it flew. All of these students stood up, proved that they could use a tangent ratio and find the height of any tall object, including the school, trees, telephone poles, without climbing them. But since none of the 16, including the top 3, were able to even build a kite that flew, and before I get some objections from a particular quarter, I'd just like to ask them one question. Would you say a plane flew if you had to pull it? Thank you. I guess I can't award this to any of them, and since I'm leaving, I think I'll just take it myself. Thank you, Mr. Collins here. He doesn't look too pleased. Well, the top 3 did do very well in the 2 contests, the BCI and Bayside. They won the first one, and they should have won the second one if they could have flown a kite. However, I'm forced to choose one of them. This year's winner always used a phrase that most teachers would love to hear. Oh, that's easy. It didn't matter whether we were learning quadratic equations, expansions, factoring, it was always the same. Oh, that's easy. This year's winner also achieved the highest math scores in both grade 7 and grade 8 in the BCI math contest. He got most of his inspiration from Bretton Fleming, who sat beside him and kept him organized. Corin kept him humble and in his place. Also, he owes his parents for his mental equipment, and Mr. Boziak, Mr. Faulkner, and Mr. Fisher for his background in mathematics. It's clear now that this year's winner played only a very small part in achieving this award. By now, some of you may have guessed that this year's winner is none other than... Raymond. Wait a minute, then you can say it. The exceptional, the amazing, the proficient, the remarkable, the outstanding, the one and only...
upon full and half Windsor knots and ties, or kites that don't fly, or planes, or downpours or showers, or many of those other amazing things that we've heard about from some previous awards. This award that we are presenting next is about communication in all its forms. And the English Award is presented to the students with the highest academic achievement in the study of English, involving both the application of the writing process and the interpretation of the written word. And the 3 recipients of the award this year are Corin Marriott, Kyle Reed, My third recipient is Breton Fleming.
The Drama Award is an award given by the Sterling Performing Arts Council in memory of one of Sterling's former citizens, Bert Prestito. I was proud to make the first presentation of this award to Valentina Cardinelli, who has gone on to perform on TV on the first season of Road to Avonlea. Last year was a regular on Doghouse, and this year appeared several times again on Road to Avonlea. Sterling Senior is proud of Valentina and the others, Mark Scott and Leslie Hall, who received the award. Again tonight, we're proud of our recipient of the Drama Award. I remember her performance in Clowns. Then came Let's Put On a Show. In it, she showed great leadership in all aspects of drama, dancing, singing, and acting. And again this year, she was in Mystery Theater. She showed leadership and talent in her role, as she was put on trial for a crime she didn't commit. This person put her whole body and soul into the role. Recently, she helped MC the band concert and did so with a dramatic flair. She seems to know how to get our attention and how to keep it. Would this dramatic lady please come and receive her award, and as Breton Fleming would say, Amy Cosby, come on down.
Award is in memory of a boy who, in spite of problems, faced life with a beautiful smile. The person that the staff have chosen this year to accept this award shows sensitivity and kindness towards others. Her attitude towards school is very positive. Even being shy, she's very willing to participate in class. She tackles her subject with a zest and she gives it her all. She's had some difficulty to deal with, and she's done it in a very cheerful, positive manner. And we'd love to present this year to Erin Haynes.
Award has been started by the Gunning Family Trophy. Mr. Lorison Gunning was a trustee for the Hastings County Board of Education. This is awarded annually to a student who most exemplifies care and support for others. The recipient this year is a person who will probably be the kind who will be very active in the community, volunteering for the PTA, youth leader, driving kids to special events, etc., as mums and dads here know. When this student came to Sterling Senior, she was a very shy young girl who has developed into a very mature young lady. This young young lady seems to always find time to volunteer and assist the staff, and at the same time does it in a very cheerful and calm way, and likes to keep some of the teachers and staff on track, like Mr. Jameson, who needs a private secretary to keep him organized at the best of times. Mrs. Defoe, who relies on her to collect the band instruments and uniforms. Mr. Spencer for track and field, who else could keep him organized and honest? And last but not least, Mr. Palmetier, who needs all the help he can get. But as she always says, no problem, Mr. P. The recipient of this year's Citizenship Award is Nadine Richter.
As Bretton Fleming would say, let's get on with the honor roll now. Thank you, Mrs. Mott. Nadine, you sure earned that. We would never have survived the Ottawa trip without you. Every time I get on the bus to see if my group was there, Nadine would say, "They're all here, Mr. P." She did that for me without being asked. She is a self-starter, great kid. Okay, the honor roll, all I would like to say about it is to echo what Mrs. Holden said, and that is that I hope that all of you on the roll and all of you who are close to being on it will continue to strive to be strong academic people. We do need you in this world, and it certainly is cool, I think, to be a scholar. And there are many of you there tonight. I had the hardest time this year doing the honor roll I've ever had, simply because we usually try to stick to 9 or 10 for the reason that when we started the honor roll a long time ago, the plaques were only so big and we could only get about 8 or 10 names on them. This year we have 13. I could easily have had 20 or 21. It would have been impossible to read the names, however, so maybe we need a bigger honor roll next year. However, the winners this year are, in no particular order, and I'd ask them to come up as I call their names: Jamie Lynn Bennett, Becky Cook, Bretton Fleming, Sabine Hart, Corin Merriam, Jennifer Philp, Laura Pickett, John Commandon, Christine Pollard, Kyle Reed, Jennifer Scott, Jennifer Wallace, and Lisa White.
to the many groups in the community that support our school throughout the year, and the J.R. Cook chapter of the IODE is one of those groups. And each year they provide Proficiency Award for the top 3 grade 8 students for the highest academic achievement through all these subject areas. And I'd like to call on our recipients this time, please. Our 3rd place winner for the Proficiency Award, Kyle Reed. Our 2nd place winner, Jennifer Philp. And 1st place winner of the IOD Proficiency Award, Jennifer Wallace.
This evening of presenting the award to the outstanding girl in the grade 8 graduating class this year. All I can think to say is that the outstanding girl must be exactly that, outstanding. A scholar academically, a talented individual and team-spirited athlete, and a young lady of many social graces. In this case, someone who always sparkles with enthusiasm and would willingly rise to the challenge of any request made of her, well respected by both her peers and her teachers. So would you welcome me, please, in presenting this to Christine Pollard.
Was up a moment ago, he said, come on, no more using my lines. And that's fine, Brenton, because there's nothing that you've told me that could come even close to describing the young man that I have to speak of. The outstanding male in our school this year, I recall him coming to us in grade 6 as a quiet yet industrious boy. He is leaving grade 8 as an active participant in a bright, handsome, girls, outgoing individual. And it's indeed my pleasure to present the award to John Plamondon.
To introduce your valedictorian to you. Before I do, wouldn't it be helpful to know what a valedictorian is? Some of your parents and guests who suffered through upper school Latin will appreciate what I'm about to say. The word valedictorian is made from two Latin words. Let's start with the last part of the word. Dictorian is a form of the Latin verb dictere. You never get away from school's graduate learning, which means to say or speak. Thus we get diction, dictionary, dictator. The first part of the word is more interesting. The Latin noun vala means farewell. Simply put together, we get the meaning for valedictorian as a person who speaks or gives a farewell. But the valedictorian does more than come up here and wave and say goodbye. So what does the valedictorian do? Returning to the word, the first part of the word, we find that vale is also the imperative. This is really stretching some of you, I know. Yes. The imperative form of the verb valere, which is a command to be strong or be well. So the task of the valedictorian is contained in the Latin roots. Now we can say that the valedictorian speaks a farewell that commands you to be strong and fit for what lies ahead. Let me say that once more. The valedictorian speaks a farewell that commands you to be strong and fit for what lies ahead. In selecting a valedictorian, the graduating class is most fortunate to receive these words from a young leader, one who is strong and fit, and able to recall the path of struggle and fun and achievement taken by this year's graduating class. This year's valedictorian is a warm, caring, enthusiastic leader. And I happen to personally like her. Please rise and welcome your 1992 valedictorian, Miss Christine Pollard.
It is my honor to be valedictorian for the graduating class of 1991-92. As we say goodbye to Sterling Senior, we remember all the things that made our years so much fun. From drama presentations, Friday night dances, Skip Milo Day, and the Science Olympics, to the cultural experiences of Toronto, Kingston, and Ottawa, wilderness adventures of Algonquin Park, and sporting experiences that took us from our gym to the ski slopes of Devil's Elbow to the Sky Dome have provided memories that will never fade. To all those teachers who made these activities possible, we sincerely thank you. Of course, we won't forget Mr. Boziak's alleged friends or his famous treats. I suggest he sweeten his recipe. Mr. Ellis's rambling history lessons, Mr. Bustle's dead fish Leonard, and Mr. Fisher's very informative health tapes and question box. Did we ever get those answers we wanted? To Mrs. Holden, who is retiring this year, we wish you all the best, and the school will miss your friendly smile and helping hand. Quality education requires a quality environment, improved by Mrs. Walton's Environmental Club, maintained by the brothers who clean up a lot, and Mrs. Mott, the CEO and Band-Aid dispenser. Thank you to our parents for those early morning drop-offs and late-night pickups, and for your guidance and encouragement over the past 8 years. While we've been at Sterling Senior, we have kept up traditions like winning the BCI Math Contest and ASG Track and Field Trophy. Now, we will start a new tradition by being the first Sterling graduates to attend Bayside Secondary High School. We, the graduating class of 1991-92, must set an example for future Sterling graduates. It will be an important task, so we must take with us the morals and skills that we have learned here at Sterling. We must go with an open mind and a lending hand. High school is a time when we must take on more responsibilities. We must make important decisions, be open to new ideas. But remember Remember your VIP program and do what you think is right for you. While our lives may take different roads away from Sterling, friendships made in the little village with the big heart will last forever. Looking back, we cannot help but see the great debt we owe to our teachers. In our senior school years, you have managed to channel our youthful enthusiasm into our studies. During those final months, you pounded into our seemingly thick skulls the information required to pass those dreadful science and history tests. You gave us encouragement to keep trying and also a great amount of extra assistance that we needed so badly. You are our friends as well as our teachers, and we shall be eternally grateful to you. Graduation is a time for looking back on lessons learned, adventures shared, bright moments filled with special meaning. It's a farewell, a time for saying goodbye to old friends, to good times you've known, a time for packing away memories, treasures for tomorrow. It's a beginning, a time for looking forward, a time to set new goals, a time to dream new dreams, to try your wings and see what lies beyond. May you cherish your yesterdays, dream your tomorrows, but live your todays.
Christine, that was very well done. I hope you will circle June 1997 on your calendar, and hopefully we will still have that tradition going when you will return as one of our guest speakers. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to some people this evening. I'm sure when you walked into the theater, you were very pleased and impressed with our stage, our decorations. Thank you, Mrs. Allenby. John Thompson, wherever you are over there, thank you for the great job with the trophies. And Warren, who has, I believe, gone on home. They've been a big help for us. I would also like to thank the Cameo Flower Shop, Mrs. Williams, for arranging for flowers and letting us know that we were welcome to call on her again next year. We thank you very, very much, Mrs. Williams. A few announcements at the end of your program I would bring to your attention. We're running a little bit behind. There is a reception for parents, which will go on. We can just shove that on until about 10 o'clock. And I would hope that everyone can get back over to the school. We'll move the dance on until 11:45. Well, if you're really good, we might even get till midnight. If I don't hear any more whistling, that's a deal. I was saying to Mr. Lott the other day, I'll only have to do today one more time. But it's been fun tonight. It's been enjoyable. And I'd like to close with a quote from one of the people that I have as a hero. Doug Harding is a hero of mine, will always be a hero to me, and so is this fellow. And this is what he said. And I hope my grade 8s will listen, and I hope they'll do this. I guess that one of the most important things I've learned is that nothing is ever completely bad, even cancer. It has made me a better person. It has given me courage and a sense of purpose I never had before. But you don't have to do like I did. Wait until you lose a leg or get some awful disease before you take the time to find out what kind of stuff you're really made of. You can start now. Anybody can. We all know that Terry Fox lived a very heroic last year or two of his life, and we'll always admire Terry. We'll see you all back at the school. Thank you very much for a great evening.
one comes back in the fall.
Okay.
Okay?
I thought we were doing our cross country awards.
We dropped that last year because of the time. Like, we're a half hour over already. So last year they said, well, we dropped that. We've done it at the gym. That's why they're listed in the program.
Our track and field was never done. I mean, our cross country was never done.
Was it not?
No.